everyone. My name is Peter Adler, and I'm very proud to have been one of the co-conveners of some workshops on joint fact-finding. Joint fact-finding is a collaboration process in which people work together to try to find solutions to tough problems, usually public policy problems, but others as well. And joint fact-finding, or JFF, is one version of many different methods. We've all been to public meetings. Some of you would be familiar with mediation. Some of you are familiar with facilitation. Joint fact-finding is a mediated process or facilitated process in which people come together to try to narrow, if not actually resolve, factual disagreements. Very often those disagreements, scientific and technical disagreements, are used as a sword or a shield. We're all familiar with dueling experts and dueling philosophies, but the idea is, can we get to the center of the storm factually and try to narrow down what really is evidence for facts and what isn't. This process has been used for maybe 20 years in different places, including here in Hawaii. It's been done on geothermal issues. It's been used for vacation rental policies on Kauai. There are going to be further joint fact findings around GMO and pesticide use on Kauai. So this is an up and coming method. For the last week, we had two workshops that were convened by myself, colleagues here from the Accord Network, which is a network of collaborators and mediators, and as well as the University of Tokyo. And we brought together first 25 practitioners and scholars who were very familiar with these methods and experienced or have studied them to really take stock and ask ourselves, what do we know? What don't we know? How can we accelerate the appropriate use of this? We huddled at the East-West Center and are generating a variety of work products. Some better papers and descriptive materials, short FAQs that can be used by leaders, frequently asked questions. And then we held a public workshop at the end, in which we had about 75 or 80 people in the room, many of them from county councils and state legislature, folks who are leaders in the public sector or private sector, to really give them a briefing on how to use this. So what you're going to see now is some of the footage from both of those workshops, as well as interviews and brief cutouts from some of the people who were at the workshops. Everybody who's a mediator or a facilitator or in the consensus building business or a collaborative leader has a model. You see, here are the phases I go through. Here are the steps I go through. And we said yesterday that JFF can be a standalone process, or it can be embedded in something larger. So there's pathways here. And the decisions around those things are interaction with clients and with participants and so on. So I just want to show you what's the phases. They come down to something that looks like this. And every time I present it, there may be a ninth, or there may be, it just depends who I'm talking. So this is not immutable. This is not written in concrete. But every project starts with some kind of exploratory phase. There's some early exploration. And it may pan out or it may not. So for example, Cam and I went to Kuantan in Malaysia to explore a possible JFF. We did some canvassing around, and we decided the timing's not right. But we did go through inventory of issues. So there's this early scoping, entry. We had a sponsor. We had someone who was a former industrial court judge who said, come here, we're working on this very complicated mind processing issue, help us. So we had some portfolio through him, had some initial traction to go there. We got a plane ticket, we got the things we needed to get moving. And then we were there and we were doing some of this scoping and appraising, assessing, trying to gain insight, and we actually came to the conclusion time's not right. Parties are really not ready yet. So some are and some aren't. There were legal acts, there were political elections in the wind, so we said, time's not right. That's that third piece, is trying to sort of do planning. And that can involve interviews and assessment and so on. The fourth one is lots of preparation, convening. Getting people together with the terms of reference, with a charter, with whatever it might be. And then there's the whole substantive deliberation, which we also know is about relationship building and trust engagement and so on. It's got lots of pieces in it. And then there's some phase when you move from all the talk to what are we going to say, what are we going to do as a call activity. So we've got to get some aligning, reaching agreements. And then in many instances there's some memorializing and documentation, report writing, reporting back to whoever engaged you, bringing it back to the legislator, to the governor, to whatever it is, and rolling it out. And there's lots of other bits and pieces in this. So make your own. You probably have your own. Dawn, you have a way, when you enter a situation, you have a methodology. You have a phase, a set of procedures. So I want to say this because JFF, if it's a standalone, could go through these phases. And if it's an embedded piece of a larger process, a dialogue, a roundtable, could also go through. The second thing, what do we call these things? I mean, JFF is a one word, but Steve may call it a dialogue on West Hawaii agriculture. Or Kem may say this is about climate planning and coastal resilience. So you have to fashion the name for what you're doing to the situation. Words matter. Short words matter. So these are what I heard: independent review panels, technical advisory groups, stakeholder panel working group, could be a dialogue, which is code for negotiation. People understand that coming in, but they prefer, if you say, would you like to come to a negotiation? No. Thanks, no. If I say, would you be interested in a dialogue, constructive dialogue? Yeah, that might be interesting. So the words we use, the descriptors are important, science advisory roundtable and so on. In this, JFF is the center of a universe of inspection, our unit of analysis. Remember that it may spill out in many different ways.